We'll get started. Good morning, guys. Can you hear me? If you can't hear me, please let me know. Please do not type in chat window because I don't see chat window. So can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
I am unmuted. Hi, can someone tell me if you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't hear you guys. Just give me a second. I don't hear you guys.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Sorry.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, because I don't hear you guys, so I got it down.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
All
Hello?
you guys are talking on mute. My speaker is muted. Wait,
Hello?
muted.
Can you hear me?
How about now?
So we can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear you. You please unmute yourself and then, yeah, everybody is muted except Manoj. Manoj, can you tell me if you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you please speak up?
Can you hear me?
Looks like there is some problem. Let me log out and log in because I can't hear you. Yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So on last week we seen we got only two artifacts. I mean one artifact instead of two artifacts because I need to get an artifact for the web application code as well as the database code because the reason was there was one setting we missed in my variables section that I will show you and then we can move on to the release pipeline. Okay, let me log into my DevOps portal, Azure DevOps, dev.azure.com, sign in. Okay. So we were using this project .NET DevOps demo. Let's go to pipeline fields and let me edit this pipeline. So the catch here is on the build solution. If you see this setting, right? I mean this label. This is for solution. Okay, we need to give the solution file here. But because of our requirements, we have to select only the project only one project, not a complete solution. So I had to make a respective change in variable section. Okay, so which I missed it. Okay, because basically if it gives me error, I get an attention. So it didn't give me error, so I didn't get any attention. So if you go to the variable section, so as I told you, these were added by the system automatically when you create a new pipeline. Okay, these are all related to your, the settings what you see in your Visual Studio as well. If you go to the build properties, okay. So here you see the build platform variable, right? And the setting is any CPU. So when you select the solution, right, it is basically any space CPU. Okay, so it was not working. I don't know, but because of various reasons, even on Microsoft forum as well, if I give any space CPU, it is for the solution. If I give any CPU as a single word, this is for the project. I don't know what's the reason, but this is working. Okay. Uh, Let me build it again because we built it last week, right? I can straight away go ahead and create the release pipeline, or for your reference, I can build it again so that you can have a look. Okay, let me go and queue the build. So while it is going on, let me start my. So today we are going to deploy this code to a virtual machine. Okay, before I deploy this to a virtual machine, I basically deploy to my local machine and I show you what manual activities are happening. And then accordingly, we see what manual activity, all those manual activities, how they will be automated and will deploy to the virtual machine. For that, I already created a virtual machine uh, on my Azure account, but it is in a stop mode. I need to start it again. Let me go and start it while the job is executing. So this is my demo server 8 AM virtual machine. I'm just going and let me start it. Yeah, you get a 30 days free trial, right? In that free trial, you basically, you see right now, if you see this notification, right? I have 13,285 rupees is credit available. The moment you start using it, it will be finishing basically. So you need to use it very wisely. Otherwise, it keep on consuming your it's a straightforward. It's a cloud-based. See, the reason I created earlier, right? It takes around 15 minutes or something to get this created. I don't want to waste time. And also in the real time, you are not the person who create the infrastructure. Any particular configuration? The configuration is all about your project requirement, right? So basically, when you are working on a new application development, anything, it will be mostly on the latest servers because latest servers will have the latest patches and everything. Okay, if it is old systems, right, like a Windows Server 2012 or something, they may need to apply some patches, etc., which is known to only your system administrators because those are the guys who keep on monitoring what patches are available, what to be installed on the servers, etc., etc. Okay, so the machine it takes a couple of minutes to get started. Of course, it is showing start running, but it takes some time. Let me go back to my DevOps portal, Azure DevOps. Yeah. Okay. The Sonar Cube first job is completed, which is our web application code. Now the second job is also completed. Now let's go and look at the artifacts. So earlier we were seeing only one artifact, that is a database build artifact, which contains some NuGet package, right? This one. And then the second one is drop. I did not rename it. You can rename it anything. Okay. So I have all the code related to my application. Okay, that's all. Now, before we go and create a release pipeline, because there are many people who don't know the manual activities, let me take 10 minutes to do the manual activity, and then we'll move on to the automation. Okay, generally how we do, so this is my web application, right? So let me close this. So you basically build it, build solution. This is equivalent to your build pipeline, which generates some artifacts, right? But I cannot take this artifact simply and move it to the some web server. For that, I need to use a activity called publish. Then it gives me all the artifacts that will be ready to be deployed. Okay. So while it is going on this build activity, so all the .NET applications will be deployed to the web server, that is IIS. Okay. So how I can get to IIS? You can go to run. You can simply say run, and then you can inet mgr, which is shortcut for your IIS. So this is your web server. So all the .NET web applications will be deployed to the IIS web server. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create. So basically, you need to create a web app, okay, under website, and then you can go ahead and deploy your code to that one. Okay. So let me go ahead and so CI Lab is my website name. Okay. So let's go ahead and create a new application, add application, and then I'll give name as .NET DevOps 8 AM. Okay. And then this is a virtual name basically. You need to map it to a physical path where you are going to deploy your code. So for that, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to browse my physical path. So this will always be basically into C colon inetpub www root. This is the most preferred one that will be used by .NET people. But if you want to put it in some other drive also, that is fine, because it is just a physical path. It is not visible to the end users. Okay. So let's go to C colon inetpub and then www root. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a folder with the same name. You can give a different name or same name. It doesn't matter. But for easy to remember, I give the same name, .NET DevOps 8 AM, and select it. So this is my app name, and this is connected to my physical path on this server. And let's go ahead and you can leave all these things. It has nothing to do with you. So all the latest servers, let us say if you take Windows Server 2019 or etc., they come with default. Even if you don't have it, it is a simple installation. I will show it to you if you don't have it. But ideally, you are working for a company. Yes, even desktop also you will have it. You can go and install it. I will show it to you. Okay, because you will not get this opportunity to install an IIS because organizations are running their applications decades and decades, right? All the servers by default will be having IIS, and there will be IIS administrators as well, are the server administrators who take care of these updates. Okay, but I'll show you that's not a big deal here because it's just going to some programs and features and installing the IIS. Okay, now let me complete this one. And you also see there is a term called application pool. Okay, this is basically a process contest. If you are a developer, you will come to know this one. Even most of the developers don't know what application pool they are using. But application pools is basically to separate their execution context. But it is just a name that you will use it. But internally, it has a lot of mechanism. Let's go ahead and complete this. Okay. Right now, I don't have anything under this website. Let me browse to uh, physical path. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create executables from my Visual Studio and copy that executable to that physical path. Okay. How you do? You go to the Solution Explorer and then you right click and then you have an option called Publish. Can say deploy solution. If it is, I have this database projects, right? Every time it takes some time. Basically, I should have clicked on the project rather than on the solution. So I could finish it very quickly. Oh, sorry. It's okay. Let's go to the project. This is my project, right? .NET, that is database DevOps. And second one is .NET DevOps. Let's right click and then publish. So what I'm going to do, I'm not directly publishing or deploying this code to any service. Since it is a manual activity, I will publish to a folder so that I can take it manually and then deploy to some environment. Okay. Now what I do, I'll go ahead and select a folder. Okay. And then I'll just I directly do not publish it there because this is a manual activity, right? Basically, you keep it somewhere and you will hand over it to some other people. So what I do on my desktop, I'll keep it somewhere. So let me go ahead and create a folder for easy to identify. I mean, 27 January, open, and then click on create profile. That's it. So that means whenever next time I publish it, right, the artifacts will go to that folder. That's it. So now let's go ahead and click on publish. So you see these things, right? Release any CPU, these things. These are what basically gets configured on your build pipeline as well, or release pipeline, NEC. Okay, it's done. Let me go to my folder on the desktop. I give a name as a 27th Jan. Let's open it. So this is the content that is generated for my publish activity. So you see there is no .cs files. It's all about executables like DLLs or your JavaScript or your configuration file. So in general, what happens? Yeah, somebody will take it and copy it to the virtual directory what we created. Sorry, virtual directory is the whole name. You copy to the application what you created in the IIS. Okay, let me select and everything. Control C, and then so this is the path, and this is the folder what I created and mapped it to my website. Okay, let's paste it here. Continue because it looks for administrator access. That's okay. Continue. That's it. Now let's go back to IIS and let me refresh this. So this is my, so now I have the content recipe. Okay. Now for the verification purpose, you can simply browse it from here itself. So you should have this option, browse. So if it is working, that means I don't have any issue. I can go ahead with the deployment to the other environments. Okay. So this is how manual activity works. Of course, I copy to my desktop and I ask someone to take it. Basically, it will be some FTP folder or some shared location. Or basically, if it is in some organization, they even email the code as well by zipping it. Okay. So these are the different manual activities that you do in real time. If you don't have any DevOps or for that sake, any scripting available for the deployments. Okay. Let's do the same thing from the Azure pipelines. Okay. So now I have the output available from the build pipeline. Let's go ahead and create a release pipeline. So under pipelines, go to the release pipeline, and now let's create a new pipeline. So mine is a ASP.NET MVC application, right? So as I told you, I mean, as you see in the build pipeline, you have many templates there, right, for each application, right? So that you can quickly start your configuration activity. in the same way, I also have a lot number of templates as per the programming language or as per the activity, so that I can kickstart my release pipeline. Here I will go and select my some template for IIS. Okay, so let's go ahead and search for it, IIS, and there are many options here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select and the task which is containing only IIS deployment, and my database DevOps project, right? That I can directly deploy by creating another job in the same pipeline. Okay. You have other things as well, like IIS website, SQL database online, SQL database offline, etc. Here basically you use some PowerShell script task where you give user ID, password, and give your scripts basically. But we are doing it in a automated way. Okay, what they are using, they you don't have any watching like what we done. Still you have the scripts. Use the scripts and use the database credentials and then deploy it. So for the time being, let's go ahead and use it because I have our database DevOps as well in place. I can add it in a different way. Let's close it. So before I go ahead and configure these tasks, so the input for this is my build pipeline, right? So that's where I can get the artifacts. Okay. So the first box is artifacts. Let's go ahead and artifact, add an artifact. Click on add, and then you see there are many options here. You can take the artifacts from your build pipeline. You can take it from the Azure request. Azure request, what means, you're already having the code, right? Some people, they keep the executables as well there, and there might be some different reasons as well, because if you might be having a multiple release pipelines. One pipeline might be taking the output from your build pipeline. Another pipeline might be taking some other executable, probably some third party given you executables. You need to deploy that one as well to your servers. So for various regions, they give you multiple options, so that you are not running out of options. Any scenarios you can handle it. So right now I'm going to take my artifacts from my build pipeline. So you select that one, and it's automatically select because my build pipeline I created from my existing project, right? That's why the project is already selected. Now let's go ahead and select the source. You see, this is the build pipeline name I given, .NET DevOps 8 AM CL. Okay, let's select it. And then it is saying, it is telling the release pipeline, always take the latest version artifacts from the build pipeline, because I ran the build pipeline many times, right? There are many versions, but I take the latest version always for the deployment. Okay, that's it. And then just say add. Now come back to the stages. Stages is nothing but, okay, I'll just give you a little bit. In the slide deck, I shown you, let me go here. Dev, QA, production, these are the different environments, right? These are environments, nothing but stages in your release pipeline. Okay. Now let's go ahead and configure these stages. So first, let me rename stage 1 to dev, because we will be using production, one more environment. One more environment. That's why I name it as a dev stage, dev environment. Okay, and the configuration type, it is a IIS website. Okay, that means I'm going to deploy my all the artifacts to the IIS website, and you have a command available, the action, like create or update, and then you have a start stop as well. So what it does mean, create or update. If the website doesn't exist, let's go ahead and create. If the website exists, let's go ahead and update it. That's what it means. Okay, this is available on the root. Okay, and then what is the website name? Default website. Okay, basically when you install IIS, right, it will come up the website that is a default website. If you want to rename it, you can rename it, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and I'm not going to use 443, I mean HTTPS. I'm just going to deploy it on the port 80 only. Means because if I have to deploy using on HTTPS, I need to procure some certificate and then some IIS admin has to install that certificate on the web server. Then only I can make this as a 4/4. Okay, for the time being, I don't have any certificate. I'm just leaving it as it is. And you see IIS deployment, right? This is the job, right? It is showing some. It is saying we need to have some settings. And if you go back to our PPT, the first uh, task in your release pipeline is adding a deployment group. Okay, let's talk about what is a deployment group. So, in any build and in any deployment, right? You need to you are deploying your code to some server. So just before this step, I deployed my code to my local PC itself. Of course, this is also a server, right? And since it is on my local, the code is local, and I mean, Visual Studio is local, and my web server is local. I don't need any settings like network settings, or I don't need any permissions to deploy the code. But let us say if you are using some different server, okay, you need to have the credentials, and also you need to have the ports enabled. That means if the network communication is not established from your server, I mean, if it is automation from your release pipeline, if it is a manual, then you need to have some remote desktop enabled, or you need to have some shared folder created, etc. These are the different permissions you needed. Since we are doing it from the release pipeline, it will not be manual, right? So I need to have a mechanism to deploy my code from my release pipeline to the server. So that server is my virtual machine which I created on Azure portal. Okay, let me go ahead and log into my Azure portal. Okay, right now if you see, if I click on the drop down, right, I don't have any deployment groups available. A deployment group is nothing but a pool of servers. So in production, what happens? It's not one web server, right? You will be having minimum 2 web servers, because you will have some load balancer, and load balancer, based on the traffic, it will divert that traffic to different web servers. That means that's the reason they created this entity as a deployment group. So basically what I do, I will go and add my web servers to this deployment group, so that these servers in the deployment group are available for my release pipeline to deploy the code. So there is a process involved that one to add server to the deployment group. First, I will log into the desktop, I mean the virtual machine, and see that is empty basically. Okay, let me log in there, and then we'll see the process how we can create a deployment group. So older days, right? I mean, before Azure DevOps came into picture, be it a TFS or even in Jenkins, all these things, right? What happens? Let us say if you have to deploy your code from Jenkins, it is running on some server, right? From that server to your web server, what needs to be happening? Your network admin has to open the port between your Jenkins server and as well as your virtual machine. Okay. In the same way, any tool you are using, you need to open the ports. Otherwise, those systems cannot communicate with each other. So there are a lot of stuff that is being done by your network administrator. Now that is made easy using Azure DevOps. You don't need as long as your Azure subscription and your virtual machines belong to the same subscription. Let us say you are using your physical servers on your data center in your company. What happens? All companies is having Azure cloud or AWS cloud, and as well as having the physical servers as well. How they are working? So you don't know that one. In the background, what they do? They connect the data center with the Azure cloud, so that whether you are using a physical server from your data center or the virtual machine from the Azure cloud, you don't feel any difference. The way you are accessing physical server using remote desktop or SSH using PuTTY is the same way how you access your resources on the cloud environment. So it is seamless to you as a developer. So let me go ahead and first log into my remote desktop. Let me take my IP address. So this is the IP address, public IP address. Let me copy it. So if you don't know how to connect to a remote desktop, you go to the run and you type mstsc, or else you can go to the programs, you can find out a remote desktop. Okay, the shortcut is mstsc. Let's click on OK. So I already created yesterday, I connected. So this is the IP address you see, and I already saved my user ID password. Let's go ahead and click on yes. So basically, I choose the machine which takes me a less price because for a demonstration purpose. Right? Take the minimum configuration, but at the same time, don't take 4 GB RAM machine. The reason it takes minutes and minutes for you to log in, and as well as if you open any folder, also it takes a lot of time to open. So take 8 GB RAM machine, and once you are done with your practice, right, again stop it so that you are not spending your credits. Okay. So how I can go to my IIS? You can go to INET MGR. So as I told you, all the servers, because you are working for a company, most of the times, not most of 100% of the times, you have the IIS installed on your server, and already some applications should be running on that. Okay. But in case, if you think that if you want to do it on your own, right, for a practice purpose, if you basically if you don't have an IIS on that machine, you can go to control panel. So if it is a Windows Server 2019 or something, it will you basically get a pop-up server manager. From there, you can go ahead and add features. Okay, because server to server, the menu items will change. But if you say how to install IIS, then you will get that one. But in this version, you go to the programs and features, and then click on turn Windows features on or off. So these are the list of things that you can install on your server. So this is the Internet Information Services. Okay, you can simply select and then install. That's it. And it will not ask you any restart. Basically, if you're installing any .NET frameworks, then it will ask you for a restart because it has to make a lot of registries or whatever it is. Okay. Right now, my IIS is empty. Okay, I haven't deployed anything. And now what I'm going to do, let me minimize this. Okay. So I have my virtual machine ready. Now I need to go ahead and prepare my machine so that it will be able to connect to my release pipeline. So for that, first let me save this one. Until unless I give something, I cannot save it. Okay, let me open in a different tab. You go to the project settings. Okay, right click and open in a different tab. So in the project settings, we have an option called agent pools, and then sorry, not the agent pool. There should be a sorry. Can directly go from here. So the deployment groups, right? You right click and open this. Agent pool is for your agents. What you select from the top row, right? The agent job. So here you can go ahead and add a deployment. Okay, let's go ahead and click on add a deployment group, or you can click on this new button. So I'll give name as sorry, not Sonar. I'll say, I mean, for a better readability, web server deployment group. The description is optional. Let's create it. Now, as soon as I clicked on create, it gave me so you see there, right? Type of target to register. So my target is my virtual machine. I want to register my virtual machine to this deployment group so that I can use that machine for my releases. Okay. Now, don't worry about what this PowerShell script is. We haven't come through that one. We will, because we have a session on PowerShell scripts as well. Once I explain that one to you, you will be able to understand this and you will be able to create your own scripts as well. So basically this script contains all the line items that is required to connect your virtual machine to your deployment group in your Azure DevOps organization. Okay. For that, what I do, let's go ahead and you can copy script to clipboard. Okay. Let's copy this one. Okay. Now go back to your virtual machine. So this is a PowerShell script, right? So you need to have a PowerShell. You need to open the PowerShell script command, and then you need to run it. Okay. So all the virtual machines are all the servers which are in a Windows Server, Windows 8 onwards are having the PowerShell built in. We don't need to install it. But if you are using very older versions, then you probably need to install. I don't think anybody is using older than at least for the production or the QA dev. People don't use those versions, right? Let's go ahead and open PowerShell. Let's type PowerShell, and I will run it as a administrator. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I simply copy paste this one. After this, you remember while I am connecting Sonar Cube with my build pipeline, we created a token in the Sonar Cube because these are the different systems. In the same way, since your virtual machine and then your Azure DevOps pipeline, both are different entities, right? So you need, of course, this has a script available to connect your system, but the credentials should also be available. So that we call it as a personal access token, or the short name is PAT. First, let me paste it here. Okay, I'm not going to execute this one right away. I will go ahead and generate my personal access token from the Azure DevOps portal and then copy it and then execute it. Because the moment I execute it, it will ask me the personal access. Okay, how you do? Let's. So you can go here. I'll do it from here because I don't want to move it from there. Okay. So from the Azure DevOps, you have this human symbol, right? Let's go there, and you have an option called personal access tokens. Let's create it. It will leave it. Let me open. I just don't want to lose anything, so that you will be seeing it online. Okay. Let's go to machine personal access tokens, and then create a token, new token. You can give any name. Okay. I say web server. Okay, I'll just say web server, and I have only one organization, Hasira 86. Let's leave it, and it comes with some expiration condition. So since my Azure DevOps comes for 90 days, right? Not more than that one. So I'll just select only 90 days. Okay, and then this is a token which gives your agent to have some permissions, right? Either you can go ahead and give explicit permissions here, like whether he can do read and write, read and execute for build agents, and then whether he can access the code, etc. So basically you can explore them, but I give the full access. Okay, let's go ahead and create. Now the token is created. See, you have to copy this token, otherwise you will not get it again. So let's copy this and then go back to my virtual machine. I basically copy here on some notepad. because once the agent is created, I don't need that one. Okay. So I copied here. Let me again copy to. So I do multiple copies. The reason, when you are working across the machines, sometimes it won't get copied. Okay. So we already copied our PowerShell script, which is generated from the deployment group. Now let's go ahead and click on enter. Did it done? Let me click again, enter. Okay. Here it's not done. Let me. I'm not getting whether it is started or not, because it's a remote machine, right? Let me close it otherwise. It's already highlighted. Let me make. I'm trying to click on enter. Let me. Okay. Good. Okay. The focus is here. Okay. Basically, it is not getting that focus. So I just written something. Don't worry, the left hand side is not visible, it doesn't matter. You can just adjust the memory, and then everything will be visible. So now it will ask me a couple of questions. Okay, now it is saying enter authentication type, press enter for PAT, personal access token. So I'm using PAT only. Let's click on enter. Now enter personal access token. So I already copied, right? Let's paste it. The easiest way here is, let's go ahead and click on and then paste it. Oh, it's not pasted. Let me copy it again. Okay, these are the typical challenges that you will face when you are using or when you are working on a remote machines. Why it is not? Okay, now paste it. Okay, now it is pasted. It lost its copy actually. Okay, click on enter. So it is connecting to the server. It is registering the agent, and then it is looking for some capabilities of the agent. It is nothing but we selected many permissions here. Okay, now it is saying enter deployment group tags for agent. This is nothing but what you use in hashtags here. It is for your identification purpose. And let's say you have multiple deployment groups. You can identify the group name by name as well as a tag as well. So I'm not writing any tag. Press enter for no. Yes. Agent is getting tested. It is asking enter user account to use for the service. When you install any job or any service, right, use some system accounts. Okay. And when you use a system account, that means you are using the least privileges. That is one of the best option. Okay. So it is saying I use NT other system. I am fine with it. I'm not worried. Okay. Now the agent is created. That means my virtual machine is now successfully connected to my deployment. Okay, let's go back to my. So now I can close all this stuff. Okay, deployment group. Even now you can just toggle there and here. Targets, and then it looks healthy. You see, demo server 8 AM is my virtual machine name. If you want, you can go to your this is my machine name, right? Demo server 8 AM is my virtual machine. As soon as I executed that PowerShell script on the PowerShell window in my machine, it is able to connect to my deployment group. So you've seen the server in the deployment group. That's it. Now let's go back to our pipeline on the other tab. And you also see, right, it is saying no deployments yet because it is a newly created one. Let's go to pipeline. Now let's refresh it, the deployment group. you have the web server deployment group. Just we created this one. Okay, let's select it. So I don't have any tags that I'm using. So the tags, as I told you, right, you can identify the names or the tags as well. I'm not using. Anyways, I connected my deployment group here. So we will talk about tags in the later classes, how it helps you. Okay, and all these things, let's leave it. And you go to this artifacts, right? So we already connected from the first box, artifacts box. Let's expand this one. And I have both of these artifacts available. The first one is the web server artifact. The next one is the database. I'm not going to deploy this database artifacts in my web server. So uncheck this one. Okay, because on IIS, I'm going to deploy only on my code. That's it. Let's minimize this one. And these are the regular things. Let's leave it. And now go to the IIS web app manage. And you see all these are grayed out because these are coming from the top things like your IIS configuration website and then creator web and then this default website. And as I told you in our when I was doing it manually, I'm copying it to the www because that is a very default thing. Here also the system automatically selected www. Let's leave it as it is. And for the time being, I'm not doing any Apple or something. We will see. Okay. And then let's go to the. This is the management aspects of your IIS, and then this is the deployment aspects of your application. Now it is saying you can leave this name as this is a display name, and then we are going to display the code to some website that is a default website. And as I told you, we created one application, right? By doing add application and given the name, and we map that application to a physical path, right? In the same way, we have to have an application. If you click on this information, right, specify the name of an already existing virtual application on the target machine. That means you need to have an application created in your IIS. Okay, let's go ahead and let's go to our IIS. Go to your, I don't need this PowerShell anymore. Let's close it. Now go to IIS. I already opened it. Now expand your sites. So you click on the default website. So in reality, what happens? You create your own website, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Let's click on and then add application. The same options. There won't be any difference. I'll give a .NET DevOps demo. You can give any name. Let me copy this name. I'll give the same name for my folder as well. Go to physical path. And the system already in the release pipeline, it already selected www. So let's go ahead and keep our folder also in the www. So it will be c:\inetpub and then www. Let's go ahead and create a folder under that. Paste it. That's it. Done. Done. Okay. Let me refresh this. Okay. Anyways, it has come. Let's go ahead and I haven't deployed anything, right? So guys, I like Chrome. That's why I already installed Chrome actually. Okay. So there is nothing in my site actually. Okay. Okay, that's it. Now let's go ahead and deploy using this pipeline. Let me keep it like this so that I can easily switch between the windows. Okay, the name I given is I copied it already. this one, and also ensure that you give a backslash here. Okay, your backslash and then your the application name what you created, and then it's already pointed to your zip folder because we already added an artifacts there. Okay, and you can keep it as it is, and I will be able to now save this one because I done all the necessary settings. Let's go ahead and save it. And I haven't added a release task for my database project, so we'll do one by one. Okay, let's go ahead and create a release and create. Let's expand this. So we can see the progress here. So it is in progress. Let's you can see the logs. So it may take a couple of minutes or let it be like that. So the advantage of the deployment group, right? Let us say I have two web servers in my deployment group. What it will do, in a single pipeline, I can deploy that code to multiple servers. That's it. So you don't need to go and manually give server names or IP addresses because you already given the deployment. So that's the advantage. So even if you have 100 servers, you already registered all those 100 web servers under the deployment. So it's easy. Okay, it succeeded. Now let's go back to the server. Let me see if the content is there or not. Earlier it was empty, right? Let me refresh it, the entire thing. Okay, so my content is being deployed here. Let me go and browse it. Done. Okay, this is a very typical deployment. And since we deployed only to the QA environment, I did not make any configuration changes to, let us say, related to databases or related to the APIs. What we do, when we have the different environments, let us say, so let's close it and let's come back to my pipeline and come back to the pipeline here. So this is only the dev environment. When I go to the QA environment or the production, any other environment, I need to make so many changes in terms of the configuration. That we will do it. But before we go ahead and do that kind of stuff, let's go ahead and use our database project as well. Okay. Now let's go ahead and edit it. Edit the pipeline. And now in the same stage, let's go ahead and open this. Sorry, open this. So I can go ahead and add another job to this one. How I can do? You can go to the root, which is a page, the process, and then go ahead and add a job. Okay. Now you can keep anything. I always prefer to use the latest one, but it doesn't matter. Now ours is the Redgate tool, right? And for the build pipeline, we used Redgate build automation, SQL change automation, something. Let's open in a, okay, you already have it here, right? Let me go to the build pipeline, edit this one. And so what's the task we use? Redgate SQL change automation and then build. So in the similar way, we will have a Redgate SQL change automation release as well. Okay, but we will use it in the release pipeline. Okay, let's go ahead and add a task. Redgate and SQL change automation release, because I haven't installed it. Let's go ahead and install it, get it free. Let's say get it free again. Install it. Okay, done. The extension is installed. Let's go back here and then refresh this. Okay, let me close this. I mean, last time also I didn't get it. Then again, click on plus and then Redgate. Let me give it a minute, because last time also I didn't get it immediately. We added in the drop down. When I click, so when you click on get it free, right, you already in your organization. In the drop down, you see that the drop down contains that organization. It is a go to your organization. Okay, you are done. You can go and check it. You can continue, because I opened multiple tabs. I don't need to go there. Okay. Okay. It took a minute. So now let's add this Redgate SQL change automation release task. If I am having only one tab, right, probably by the time I click on go to organization and navigate to here, I probably get the extension. It took almost a minute. Let's see what is available here. So the operation here by default is a create a database release artifact. Okay, that's not the one. You have to use a deploy database changes from a build artifact. Okay, and then we have to give the path and database, and then this is a NuGet package. Okay, let's select it. So I'm not doing any SQL compare options or anything. This is mostly related to, I mean, if there are any advanced stuff, then your DB guys will be doing it. And then the last, I mean, I need to give the target database. This is what minimum I need to give. So the target SQL server instance name and then authentication stuff. Let me go ahead and take my SQL server name what I created. Okay, so I can go to my portal. Let me delete these things. So portal.azure.com. Where is this? Yeah, and then let's go home. I can easily find it there. So this is my target QA. Of course, server name is same for both of the things. Okay. Azure demo Puna. This is the one. Let's copy. Click on that copy to clipboard and come back to your release pipeline. Save it. Okay, and then what's the database name? It's QA. I want to deploy it there, and the authentication is SQL Server authentication only. And then you have to give the username, that is Asura 86, and then password. As I told you, we should not be keeping the passwords here, because it will be available in your plain text. So you have to give the variables. Of course, even here as well, we will be using the variables mostly. And let's go to the variables. I'll go and add a variable name. Let us say dbpw. and nobody can do anything. So that's why I'm just typing it. Okay, and you click on this one. So because only administrators should be able to see it. Okay, and once you type it, you can basically lock it. Okay, that's it. A variable is being created. PWD. Let's come back to my tasks. So how you use that? Using a dollar symbol, you can use it. What did I give? DB PWD, right? That's it. Okay. So these are the regular things what you see. Okay. Now that's it. Let me go and save it. So before that, let's go back to our server and see. Ensure that we don't have our things are, I mean, anything is been available and generally everything is available. Let us say your dev DBs or QA DBs, everything is there basically. Since we are doing the demonstration, I created it freshly. Okay, let's go ahead and connect it. The SQL Server database configuration I took is related, I mean, the low capacity, that's why it takes time. Say databases, QA, and then tables. There is nothing here. And then go to the dev, and then tables. So we have okay, we forget about the top one pivot. These are the schema related and get related, and this is a sample table that we created. Okay, now we are good. We checked it. Now go to the release pipeline. Let's go ahead and create a. I just want to disable these things so that I can quickly run my pipeline. Okay. I disable these things so that did I click and create list? No, right? Done. Let's go to the logs. That will be completed quickly because we are not deploying now. We disable those tasks. No, this is a directly instance. So here, see the tasks that are given by I mean Microsoft, IIS tasks and deployment groups, that they are proprietary, so they can do it. But databases, these are little different to the code, right? So if it is web servers, every server will be having the same configuration. There is no doubt. Be it admin privileges, be it folders or anything, right? Everything will be similar. But if you take the databases, they are different. Different servers will have the different access permissions. I don't know why they did not create the deployment groups, but I'm thinking that could be the reason. Because I never seen, at least in my lifetime, where people deploy the database scripts parallelly to the different servers. So even if they have the cluster, right? So let's say they have a DB cluster. What they do first, they will take one database server offline and they deploy the things. And then they take the other database server off and then they make it online like this. So compared to the code, right, databases are very sensitive. I mean, you cannot make drastic stuff until unless you are very mature. So let's see what it is doing. Hopefully, it doesn't give me any issues. You see, I mean, pre-deployment, post-deployment, it's doing so much stuff. Okay, done. Let me check what happened here. So you can check the logs basically. I am just looking whether my script is being taken or not. Oh, I don't see it. I see only from the drop folder, and I don't see anything from the database DevOps, right? That means there shouldn't be anything deployed to my database. Let me refresh. Nothing is deployed because that was code that was not the artifacts of my database DevOps project. Then let me check my. Let me again check this because I always have the habit of checking my logs. .NET DevOps, .NET DevOps demo, 8 AM CI. Okay, see. Next task. Should be okay. It's okay. He deployed it, but I should be able to see the logs. I mean, where it is basically picking all that stuff. Agent job. Okay. I was looking at these things. It seems okay. Sorry, guys. I been shifting between different sessions. Okay. This is where you see. I actually clicked on the first job logs. It seems okay. So this is where you see. I mean, what is being picked. Okay, and what is being executed. You see, executing the migration script here. Okay, and then finished it. Okay. So this is how we deployed, guys. People on the on the call, right? So I'll be doing this database stuff again tomorrow as well. Means right now what we done? We done one release, one set of scripts have been deployed to the production, right? So some people did not hear me online. What I do, I repeat the same thing. Let us say tomorrow I'll go and create another table and store procedure, and let's do the pipeline and then release pipeline so that the people online are also covered what I've been doing, and you also can see multiple releases. I mean, I don't do anything manually. I will go to my SQL Server Management Studio because that's how people work, and let's create a couple of tables or procedures and then do our stuff from the database project from the Visual Studio, and then check in your code. I'll enable the continuous integration so that as soon as I check in the code, it will go and build the both code and as well as the database scripts, and then will be deployed to your environment. So that will ensure that one phase of our release pipeline is done, and then we can get into the some advanced concepts. Right. QA environment.
Yeah, Purna, this is Manoj.
Yes, Manoj. Yeah, just give me a
So,
second. Just give me a
okay.
second, Manoj.
Okay.
So you have this database, right? We given the target here. Okay. This is the target database server name, and this is the database name, and I given the user ID. Target database QI. Okay. From the new data. Yes. So that is the first one, right? I given this You see this package path. I selected this one, right? I opened that article. It's already deployed. No, that from the release pipeline, from the build pipeline, I got this artifact, right? This NUPK NuGet package. So in the release pipeline, I use that package, which is created from the build pipeline. Okay, it's always like this, right? First you build it, you get the artifacts, and then give it to someone, they will deploy. In the same way, we have the build pipeline, which generated 2 artifacts, one for the database, another for the, and I deployed using those 2 artifacts, and we have the different jobs here. One for code, another for DB. Yes, Manoj.
So in the previous deployment, so we have deployed onto IIS web server, no? So it is Windows Server 2019.
Correct. No. I deployed to Windows Server 10 actually, because I was getting Windows Server 2019 some expensive, but it is same IIS. It doesn't matter.
Okay. So, but where we get this URL so that the end users will be accessing that URL. So we did not
So
find
that's
any
your,
URL. No?
that's your website name, right? So your network, see what we have done currently. We deploy to the web server and we try to browse the application from the server itself. Okay. If it is
How
yes.
we can access that from?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Let me
that,
complete it, Manoj. Let me complete. Okay.
Okay.
So if you have to access from the internet, you need to have the domain name. Right name, I'm using default website. That's not a domain name. So your network guy basically procure a domain name. Let us say from GoDaddy or Microsoft. There are n number of domain providers. They will basically buy the domain name and their company name. It can be xyz.com or visualpath.com, etc. And they will configure the domain name for that website. Okay, this is the networking concept. So since I'm giving the demonstration, I straight away created an application in front of you in the IIS. But in the real time, the websites will be created by the network teams. You go and deploy your code to that the website. Without having a domain name, you cannot access it outside. But right now also I can access outside using public IP address from of the server. Let us say these are networking concepts. Let us say this is my
Purna, you have not
yeah.
given any kind of IP addresses. I mean, public IP addresses anywhere in the on the portal, right?
I have given one IP address, public IP address. The reason I basically switch off the stop the servers, right? If I don't use a dedicated public IP address, every time I start the server, my IP address will be gone. Then again I have to redo all the activities like deployment groups and everything. Of course, it comes with a cost. So this is the public IP address. Even if I stop the server, it will not change. Okay. When you first create the virtual machine, okay, this is a cloud concept. When you stop it, right, it will ask you, do you want to retain this IP address? If you say yes, it will retain. Okay.
Can we access this application by using the public IP?
Yeah, you have to give. You have to open ports for this one. If you don't have the ports open, okay, I'm able to access. This is the default website, and my application name is what is that? .NET DevOps 8 AM, right? No, it's only .NET DevOps demo. Because I have a public IP address, but in reality, you will not access like this. So you will access like this only in your dev environment because you will not have any domain name configured for your dev work here. It is mostly for the UAT and the production environments. Because I already opened course for HTTP on my virtual machine, I'm able to access. Okay, guys. That's it
Purna,
for
last
today.
question.
Yeah, please.
Purna, whether this deployment groups will be created by the network people, or we should only do all this kind of
No,
configuration?
we should do that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so if something is related to the network people, I straight away tell you. Okay, anything that you are doing from the Azure DevOps will be done by the DevOps engineer. As simple as that. So no other person will be having access to your Azure DevOps administration. It's only the Azure DevOps engineer. If a developer is having permission, that means he can go and create, queue the build. We see the permissions, right? How to set it. You go to the project settings, and if you add a user, you can give the permission, read only or something. That's it.
So your agent pool is concerned with build, and deployment group is concerned with release pipeline. Is it right?
Yeah, agent pool is nothing but it's a build agent where it where it compiles your application and generates your artifacts in the background. Deployment groups is only for the release.
Only for deployment of your release
Yeah,
pipeline.
exactly. Yeah. In other words, you say it is only for the release pipeline.
Okay.
So as I told you, once I'm done, right, I'll basically go and stop my virtual machine so that I don't need to incur cost for this.
So here, shall we have to create Windows 2000 Server 19? Which version we have to use for
You
deployment?
can use anything. It depends on your project requirement. You can use anything. The most latest you will have, the most features you have. That's it. There is no constraint. You can deploy to the 2010. You can deploy to the 2012 or 14, 16, 19. It's up to you.
Any version mismatch comes or nothing like that?
No, I see. As long as you are having the IIS latest version, see, it's all about IIS, and you will get the version mismatch only, when you are doing anything related to OS. It is talking to your OS, but most of the web applications don't talk to your OS. It's only, web application. That's it. If it is anything related to the what do you say, something like gaming or something, right? You will get into issues because different OS will have a different configuration. Your games run on the what do you say, on the kernel, not on the IIS. Okay, guys. It's 9:30. I will close for today, and tomorrow we'll start. We'll do some more activity on the database DevOps so that you will. Everybody will be comfortable how it works in across multiple villages. Okay, and then we'll get into the advanced concepts. Some other advanced concepts. Okay. Have a good day, guys. See you tomorrow.